Welcome in everybody to Saiontz Kirk presents a Sports Maven this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. And yes, the USC Trojans are coming to town. No fight band, no cheer cheer for old USC. Got Carl Science in the house with me this morning. We're going to talk about the Ravens. What do you think about the USC coming in, buddy?
I think it's exciting. Look, we're all going to make a choice right now, right? We're either going to cry about the changes in college football, or we're just going to get on board and enjoy it and go with it. Look, we all mocked college football, for being professional when they wouldn't admit it was somewhat professional, right? Now it's all out in the open. We got the NIL going. Let's embrace this. How much fun is it to have USC, UCLA, and Oregon in the mix for Maryland fans? I think it's amazing. Do we want to still cry over spilled milk and be like Coach K, crying about the ACC, Maryland leaving the ACC, or do we want to move on?
Well, today the big cry is
the newness.
Today the big cry is about the NIL money. That's the newest thing,
Well,
and it is what it is. That's all we can say.
Exactly. But to answer your question, I think it's exciting.
It sure is. Let's get down to the Ravens. It's Monday Night Football this week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Carl, does it not seem like the Ravens every week play the biggest game there is? I mean, with Buffalo on a Sunday night, Dallas on the road, that great game with Cincinnati, and then the Commanders. It's like the Ravens, it's everybody wants to see Lamar. That's what my brother in Florida tells me.
The Ravens are must-see TV right now. Anytime Lamar is under center, they're must-see TV. They're the most exciting team to watch. These games have not been boring this year. I can tell you that.
That's to say the least.
So no, I'm excited. But this will be an exciting game as well against Tampa. I mean, Bruce, I love to read. I like stories. I like murder mysteries. I like Boy Meets Girl. But I really love a good comeback story. Okay, so it's hard not to be somewhat rooting for Baker Mayfield.
Thrown out like a dog for Deshaun Watson. They had
Baker. The dog pound tossed him out like a dog.
It's unbelievable. And they
and
like that.
And he's playing really well.
They might like to have him back, too. But
look, the dude, no kidding. The dude's leading the NFL in touchdown passes, okay? So he's for real. And we've seen the Ravens. We've seen this movie before where a good quarterback, a great quarterback, comes in with two great wide receivers. Hello, Cincinnati Bengals. Well, hello, Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Goodwin and Evans joining Mayfield. That's going to be a test. And they've got a running game now, too, by the way.
Bucky Irving and Sean Tucker doing great. Yeah. Their defense, Vita Vea, all right, a tremendous sack specialist. Kalisha Conley, 5 sacks. Yeah, 5 sacks last week.
And 15 the last 3 weeks, Bruce. My math says that's 5 a week. Okay?
And look, they beat the Commanders. They beat the Lions. They beat the Eagles and the Saints. Lost to Atlanta in overtime, I think, and the Broncos.
That was a heartbreaker on a Thursday night a couple weeks ago. And they played well that game. Last week, it was a mixed bag. I mean, they scored 50-something points. But Baker had touchdown passes. He also had 3 interceptions.
Yeah, he really scored 51 plus 21 for the other team. But in other words, that's Baker. But
that's right.
When it comes to crunch time, Baker always gave the Ravens problems. All right. He was never an easy out. And the games they won, it seemed like every year we had to beat Cleveland to get in the playoffs. Sometimes we did, sometimes we didn't. But
Bruce, we talk a lot about in the NFL, especially week to week, how that team that has the bigger need for the game, the bigger desire for the game, they really need it. This is a game where we're coming into Tampa after those 2 hurricanes. It's our first home game. And, I'll never forget the New Orleans Saints Monday night game after Katrina. And so I have a little bit of trepidation. Are they going to come out with that, just energy from that building and from that city? I'm sure they're going to have it. It's going to be up to the Ravens to do one of those quick starts that we've been having. And by the way, they've scored on their first possession the last 3 weeks. So they're doing what the Ravens like to do, is get that quick start going. So we're going to see which team gets that quick start.
I love Baker Mayfield. I think he's great, but he's no Lamar. And Lamar has been nothing but special. The MVP is playing like an MVP again. He'll never get it this year because they just won't give him another
I
one.
wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. Let's see how this season
But I
plays
think
out.
at this point, got to look at Derrick Henry a little bit
Well,
with the
that's
amount of
true.
yards he has. I mean,
That's
and I
true.
think Lamar would trade in all three MVPs for a Super Bowl win.
Why, Bruce? Wait a second. I thought the MVP award was for quarterbacks only. It's
Yeah,
not.
well, it's
Well,
not.
maybe this year it's not.
It's not for sure. So Lamar was 20 for 26 last week, 323 yards, 12.4 average. You kidding me? Derrick Henry, 24 for 132. That's over a 5 yard average, two TDs. Zay Flowers, 9 for 132. Talk about Zay Flowers. How great has he been?
Pick your poison, Bruce, because when they tried to stop Derrick Henry last week, what did the Ravens do? That middle was wide open, especially for Zay Flowers. I mean, that is a real pickle we're putting these defenses in right now.
There's no,
They
there's absolutely no doubt. But Carl, you talk about, well, can the Bucks rise up? Look, the Ravens opened up 4.5 points in this week over the Bucks. Well, within 5 minutes, it was down to 3.5. It'll probably be three by game time. So when you're playing a team and you're only laying them 3 points, even though it's on the road, that's not a major upset if they win. All right, they're a good team. In other words, they're
they're
four
a
and
good
two.
team.
Hey, they're 4 and 2,
Like,
and we're 4 and 2.
yeah,
Period.
no,
Okay,
Tampa's as good as anybody in that conference right now. You know.
without question, without question.
Oh
But
well, speaking of that conference, the NFC.
right,
Let's go. Let's run by our favorite stat one more time
I'm afraid to
because
say it.
Lamar is now 22-1 against the NFC. I mean, I know around the country people must lose their minds when that comes up on the TV when we play an NFC team because it is an unbelievable number.
Well, you know what would be unbelievable sad if we get to the Super Bowl and it's 26, 25-1. All
So,
right. I
all
mean,
right,
you know,
I'll take that problem. Let's have that problem.
yeah, I agree with you. And all the Washington fans when they left, they were saying to me, "We'll see you in the Super Bowl." I said, "I tell you what, I hope like hell I do."
I
Okay,
do too.
that would be great.
That would be fun, and we do love that quarterback, Bruce.
Just to be in the Super Bowl would be great at this point.
Yeah,
Have you bought your plane tickets yet, or is it
it
too
was. But we do
premature?
love that quarterback, don't we? Listen. Now's the time. I'm with you. Get on the bandwagon. Let's get on the bandwagon. But Bruce, we did love that quarterback from Washington last week, didn't we?
Yes, he did. He
Jaden
was
Daniels.
great. That
He was
pass,
phenomenal.
that pass that he threw was just unbelievable to Terry McLaurin. And oh, would I like to have Terry McLaurin as a Raven? He is really, really something. Okay. Now, all right. So how's this game go? Do the Ravens come out throwing? Do they come out running? I mean, what do they do? You never know with Todd Monken. They're going to run Derrick Henry before it's over. We know that. I got a feeling they're going to come out storming a little bit to prove they can take down that defense and soften them up. Sometimes you have to soften them up for the run with the pass because they're going to have 8 men in the box. I mean, that's what they've been doing so far. And Derek gets off to somewhat of a slow start, except when he ran for 87 yards.
Yes.
But,
Yep.
but,
Yep.
I'm
Against the
not sure
Bills.
what they're going to do this week, but I do know one thing. All right. I'm real tired of that kickoff rule. I don't know about you. To me, it's the dumbest thing in the world. What do you think?
I don't hate it, Bruce. I don't hate it. Um, I understand the reasoning behind it. I think the reasoning behind it was to have less of a running start so that the collisions are a little bit less intense, right? Is
That
that what it's
makes
about?
listen. It makes
You know,
sense.
I understand it. I love it when the Ravens get the ball at the 30-yard line. Let me tell you something. I love it because it seems like we're like 3 first downs away from a field goal. You know what I mean?
Actually, you're about 2.5. I mean,
Two and a half. I mean,
you're one
yeah.
good play.
So I mean, I love it. I don't mind it. I do think it favors a team like the Ravens, frankly. So I'm not hating it. I loved our new special teams player last week, Ben Cleveland.
Let me tell you something else. Speaking, I got to ask you a comparison. What were you more happy about last week? Mark Andrews getting those 4 balls, getting the touchdown, or the way Kyle Hamilton played? I thought Kyle Hamilton was just unbelievable. He was just the way he hit. When he hit that guy, almost knocked him out. Then they called the flag and they took a look at it. It was 100% perfectly clean, which is why the guy didn't get hurt. You know what I mean? Wasn't around the
Yes.
neck. Wasn't. It was a clean, hard hit to the body, and he might have been shook up a little bit. But Kyle Hamilton has been fantastic.
Well, I'll address both. Kyle Hamilton is just getting better and better. The more he's on the field, the more he allows his instincts to take over. They're using him the same way they did last year, putting him all over the place. He's like Ed Reed. I remember these interviews with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick talking about whenever they played the Ravens, the first thing they did when they go to the line was, where is Ed Reed? What's he up to? They had to take him into account, and that just slows up. And for younger quarterbacks especially, that's an advantage. But I love the way he's playing. Mark Andrews, that was a relief to see him reemerge and get back in the mix, get back in the flow, because let's not forget, that dude's a weapon, especially in the red zone, especially on third down. Total weapon. And if defenses have to start worrying about him again too, we're just all the better. This defense, this offense, is just watching it come into its own. And it's only 6 weeks in. It's going to get better and better. It's exciting, Bruce. I don't think they've reached their max efficiency yet, and they're getting there. They scored 5 possessions in a row last week against Washington?
Six
possessions in a row, and they ran out the clock. Right?
34 to 16, Carl.
Yeah.
I think the Ravens. It's close in the first half, and they pull away. I just feel that they're too strong for this team. And would I be shocked if we got upset? Not even a little bit. You have to expect they're not going to win every game.
Look,
right?
they've got Godwin and Evans, and we've seen that could be an issue for the Ravens when there's a duo of very good wide receivers. So, that could be an issue. But I'm with you. I don't see the Ravens losing to Tampa. I don't see the Ravens losing to, as much as I like Baker and find myself rooting for him this year. I don't see it happening. I see us going. I see Lamar making it 23-1 against.
All right,
the
Carl.
NFC.
Let's get to the 5-pack. I got 5 games. I want your take on them. The
Please.
Bengals laying 4.5 at Cleveland. Cleveland's in a bad spell right now. The Bengals are coming. The Bengals cannot afford to lose a game. They could fall too far behind the Ravens if it continues. And I think if they win their next 2, when they come to Baltimore, it'll be very interesting because they're going to be looking for retribution of that missed field goal or the missed snap. How do you feel about that one?
I still think the Bengals are a danger in the AFC. I agree. I still think they're a top 3 team with us in Kansas City. To me, they're not playing like it yet, but I think by the end, those are the 3 teams.
Well, we need the Bengals to take out Kansas City for us.
That'd be fantastic. That'd be great.
All right, next game, the Texans. We saw the effect of not having Stephon Diggs for Buffalo was they added Amari Cooper. All right, they needed him. Yeah. All right, and now the Texans have Stephon, and they got T.J. Stroud. They're a hell of a team. Green Bay's playing great though. Jordan Love is there. They're playing at Green Bay. I don't think it'll be cold, so that won't be a fact. I don't think it'll be that cold, but I love the Texans getting 2.5 in that one.
I keep doubting Green Bay. Keeps biting me in the stick. I love that team, and their defense has got some young talent too. So I'm with you on that. I'm taking those points.
All right, let's move on to this is my game of the week, and I know you disagree with me on this. Minnesota laying 2.5 against the Lions. I know the Lions lost Aiden Hutchinson, a tremendous loss, could keep from the Super Bowl, but teams rally around when there's an injury on a team. Lions are getting 2.5. I think Minnesota, if you can be such a thing as a mediocre 5-0 team. All right, and I think the Lions win this game and make a statement and take the division over. Your take?
I think Minnesota's really well coached. I think they got the best dude in the land in Jefferson. I think Hutchinson's loss is unfortunately just a gut punch.
Backbreaking.
To the Motor City. It's just really too bad because I really love that Lions team. They are fun to watch. And that Hutchinson seems to me to be a bit of a Ray Lewis figure for them. It looks to me like from the outside. I don't know if that's true, but it looks like he is just the heart and soul of that team. Hated seeing that happening. I'm going to go with the Vikings in that one.
We'll agree to disagree. Here's an easy one. The Panthers are getting 7.5 at the Commanders. Who do you like? This is a no-brainer.
We love our Jaden Daniels right now, man. I
Yeah.
mean, we stopped him, but I'm
Hey,
telling you, we saw a lot of good stuff. We saw a lot of talent from that kid, and good for the Commanders. Good for our friends down the road.
we need a rival. We need somebody
Good
down
for
the road that
them.
we can fight with and argue
Yes,
about. There's no
good for
doubt.
them. Good
And
for them.
now, and
I
now,
don't,
the biggest game
I don't begrudge.
is the Chiefs at San Fran. All right, the Chiefs
Oh,
are getting 1.5. Another mediocre 5-0 team. They're not mediocre. They're the Super Bowl champs, but they haven't been impressive. They've struggled to win every game. Barely beat the Ravens. Barely beat everybody almost.
we
I
said
think.
that last year about them too, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's who they
We
are, and
did.
maybe
I know.
Travis Kelce wakes up. You know what I mean? I don't know, but right now, I like the 49ers in that game with or without Christian McCaffrey. With them, there would have been 4 points, I think. I just think the betting public is going to be on San Francisco, and they got a little revenge
Where's
themselves,
the
too.
game? Where's the game?
The
Where's the
game's in
game?
San Fran.
Good. Yeah,
Or let's
I'm
say
definitely picking that.
the game's in San
Definitely rooting
Jose.
for them.
All right.
San Jose. There you go. But definitely rooting for them.
Right.
Picking them as well, and 100% rooting for them. I
All
hate the
right,
Chiefs, Bruce.
Carl, we're out of time, my man. Thank you so much. And great segment. And we'll see you next week. And we'll be previewing the Cleveland Browns and hopefully talking
Absolutely.
about a Tampa Bay victory for the Ravens. Have a great week, Carl. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back in a few minutes to talk about the University of Maryland.